Yesterday morning, Saudi Aramco announced it made $33 billion in 90 days, one of the best quarters it has ever printed. And that same morning, Saudi Arabia was quietly asking for calm from the poorest enemy it has. So today I want to answer why the most profitable company on earth makes its owner easier to threaten, not harder. Now, you probably remember this weekend. Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, picked up a phone on Saturday and stopped an American bombing campaign that Trump himself called the largest since World War II. One call and the bombers stood down. So, for about 72 hours, MBS looked like the most powerful man in the Middle East. Then, yesterday morning, Bloomberg reported that Saudi Arabia is trying diplomacy to stop Houthi attacks from escalating. So we need to think about that pairing for a second. The same government that can pause the Pentagon with a phone call is asking a militia from the poorest country in the Arab world, please, let's talk about this. So let's start with the receipts, because Aramco published them yesterday and they are official. You can look for them online. Adjusted profit for the quarter, $33.4 billion, up 33% from a year ago. And here's the detail that is worth mentioning. They earned that while pumping less. So production dropped by a quarter in 3 months, and profit went up anyway, because the war moved the price of each Aramco barrel from $66 last year to $108. So the war is paying Aramco roughly $40 extra on every single barrel. So that premium exists because the market fears one specific thing: somebody hitting Saudi oil infrastructure. So the company is collecting record money from the exact fear that is pointed at its own installations. So it's a strange profit, but a profit nonetheless. It's like a casino that profits every time someone waves a gun at the cashier. Or in plain words, the richer the war makes Aramco, the bigger the target painted on it. So now let's meet the people holding the gun, because this front moved fast while everybody was watching Hormuz. In July, Saudi jets hit the airport in Sana'a, the Yemeni capital, reportedly to stop a plane carrying Iranian officials. And the Houthis answer with a phrase that tells you everything about how they think. Airports for airports, ports for ports, and a blockade for a blockade. It's very simple to understand, I must confess. Then they did exactly that. They declared a naval blockade on Saudi Arabia through the Bab al-Mandeb Strait, the southern gate of the Red Sea. And on July 26, they put missiles and drones on 2 Aramco refineries, Jizan and Jambu, both on the Red Sea coast. So Jizan produced a very large column of smoke, and Jambu survived because American Patriot batteries knocked the missiles down. So Abdul Malik al-Houthi, the leader of the movement, has now said it in the open that every Saudi oil facility is a target if Riyadh stays in the fight. And no, Riyadh is not treating that as an empty threat, because in 2019, the Houthis' patrons proved the concept at Abqaiq, the largest oil processing plant on the planet, and half of Saudi production went offline in one morning. Now, the geography makes this so much worse than it looks. The Strait of Hormuz, the kingdom's front door, is already a war zone. Traffic through it is down about 30%, and a cargo ship got hit by a projectile there just the night before. So Aramco's survival trick this whole war has been the East-West pipeline, which carries crude across the country and ships it out from the Red Sea. And the Red Sea exit is precisely what the Houthis just shot at. So we have a company with 2 doors, and there's now somebody standing in each one: Iran at the front door and the Houthis at the back. So that is the whole Saudi predicament in one sentence. And I would say it explains the diplomacy. So think like MBS for a moment. about incentives in this case. His phone call power works on Washington because Washington owns things like careers, elections, gas prices. But deterrence needs an address. Where are you going to send the deterrence? And the Houthis barely have one. They have been bombed for the better part of a decade. They hold no oil terminals worth $42 a barrel, and their whole doctrine is mirroring, you close my port, I close yours. They are all over the place. So Saudi Arabia is like a man in a glass house negotiating with people who live in the rubble next door. One side has $1 trillion of Vision 2030 glass, and the other side has already lost everything it is going to lose. So at least that's how Riyadh seems to be reading it, because the royal court is reportedly split. The defense minister says Washington gave them room to strike back, and they are choosing the phone anyway. Now, what does all this mean for the money? First, the dividend problem, and this one is personal. Aramco declared a $22 billion dividend this quarter while generating only about $12 billion in free cash. So the gap gets covered with borrowing, and the Saudi state budget drinks from that dividend. So, well, I grew up in Venezuela watching a government treat its oil company as the national wallet, and the wallet always feels thinnest exactly when the state is busiest spending. Number two, the barrel math. OPEC and its partners just finished unwinding their oil production cuts, 3.5 million barrels a day, announced one day after the MBS phone call. So if peace lands, Riyadh sells maximum barrels into a calming market. And if war resumes, the premium comes back, but so do the missiles as well, which means Saudi Arabia is the only player at this table that gets paid on both branches, just not in equal terms. So third, the American side of all this. The strategic petroleum reserve is drained. Refining capacity worldwide keeps burning faster than crude supply heals, and every Houthi headline lands directly on American pump prices heading into an election season. And notice that the patriots defending Yanbu come from the same scarce stockpile Ukraine is publicly begging from, so both wars are drinking from one ammunition pool. For the Gulf neighbors, Kuwait and Bahrain have already taken drone hits this summer, so every capital in the GCC is watching whether the Hormuz deal actually covers the Houthi front or whether Yemen stays its own separate war that, no phone call can stop. So, here is what I would watch out for this week. Watch the official selling prices Aramco posts for September barrels, because that number tells you which branch Riyadh is actually pricing. Peace or round two of the war. And watch whether Jizan and Jambu get hit again, because that answers whether the blockade is a bargain chip or, the complete opposite. And meanwhile, one Gulf country has taken 0 strikes on its soil this entire war, and its east coast port of Fujairah sits beyond both contested straits. So the Emirates, they have a lot of missiles, a lot of drones, but they have defended themselves quite well. They are becoming the one exit that everybody trusts. But if you want my deeper analysis on geopolitics and the behavior of the people who run the world, go check my blog, The Power Pundit. I can say things there that I prefer not to say anywhere else. Link in the description, and share this video with your family and friends so they know what's really going on. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm The Power Pundit. Much love and bliss.